unless a court said they had meeting.
You personally don't believe that legitimate votes by Wisconsin residents should be tossed out, and yet you are signing a document in support of a lawsuit which is alleging just that.
And if I didn't do that, and the court did throw out those votes, it would have been solely my fault that Trump wouldn't have won Wisconsin.
Joining our conversation, former lead investigator for the January 6th Select Committee, Tim Hafey. David and Claire are both back with us. Tim, here's the thing. The 1-6 committee, you spoke with Andrew Hitt. I just want you to describe what you used his testimony to prove and why you think Special Counsel Jack Smith appears so keen on having people like Hitt as a witness.
Well, thanks, Alicia. First of all, Mr. Hitt demonstrates that this was a plan hatched in Washington, not in Madison, Wisconsin. This was an RNC, Trump campaign-led endeavor. Mr. Hitt, the advice that Mr. Hitt is talking about there came from Washington. So this was part of a national strategy in certain contested states to generate these fake electors. And the trick comes in because people like Mr. Hitt were told, well, this is just a contingency. In the event that there's litigation, we need to have these signed certificates so that there would be the certified Trump electors. The issue is that it was not just in the contingency basis, but they were meant to go before Vice President Pence to give him an alternative on January 6th, regardless of litigation. So we found, and Mr. Hitt was very helpful, as were other fake electors, A, orchestrated from Washington, and B, what he was told about contingency was not actually the plan that was executed. All of that, Alicia, goes to intent, goes to common scheme, goes to the intentionality of the political campaign to disrupt the joint session.
Right. And David Jelly, one of the things that is so striking is if you watch this, your question is like, well, why'd you do it, right? If you didn't believe legitimate votes in your state were being tossed, why sign your name on these documents? Take a listen to what Hitt said.
Beautiful kids, Andrew. Good, good. I'm going to blame you, Andrew, if they don't do it.
Can you imagine the repercussions on myself, my family, if it was me, Andrew Hitt, who prevented Donald Trump from winning Wisconsin?
You're saying you were scared?
Absolutely.
Scared of Trump supporters in your state?
It was not a safe time. If my lawyer is right, and the whole reason Trump loses Wisconsin is because of me, I would be scared to death.
David, you didn't need to see that tape to know that the answer was going to be fear, right? Because this is how Trump and his team govern and contain power, is through fear.
Yeah, Alicia, I think it's a fascinating conversation, and it's a good one for the world to see, because there you see the Wisconsin state chair perhaps acting out of intimidation, fear for his own safety, or maybe just proximity to power, and he wanted to be a political player. But I think what everybody understands, and, Tim had a much closer seat to this particular individual. Everybody understands following advice of counsel and following bad advice. He apparently struggled with whether or not to follow the advice of counsel. He wasn't quite sure how it would work, but he deferred to people who at least projected that they had a better understanding of constitutional process. And so for those who say, look, I was duped on process, maybe they deserve a little bit of grace. Everybody can decide whether that's the case or not. But what this absolutely affirms is Jack Smith's charge of conspiracy to defraud the United States. Because while this particular state chairman may or may not have known what he was being told was a lie, the people telling him knew it was a lie. The likes of Rudy Giuliani and Ken Chesebro and Donald Trump, everyone who was orchestrating this from Washington and giving him that advice knew it was wrong advice and knew it was part of a broader conspiracy, which is why Jack Smith has the former president dead to rights when we start to see interviews like this.
Claire McCaskill, as David Jolly was speaking, I could see your prosecutor eyes light up at the suggestion this was all going to be about process.
Yeah, I don't know where Andrew Hitt got his law degree, but he needs to call him and ask him for his money back. The idea, Andrew Hitt was not some uneducated rube. This is an attorney. And I'm sorry. I think he's trying to cover himself now. I think he's, worried about what went down, and he's trying to say, oh, a lawyer told me to. Well, he's a lawyer, for gosh sakes. Why didn't he check what the precedent was? There's no law anywhere that allows people to pretend they are electors from a state when they're not. Anywhere. So it is ridiculous that he is now saying, well, I was just told by a lawyer. Well, that's just silly. And the second thing is, we know this is a conspiracy because remember what happened the morning of January 6th. Remember what these folks in Washington were trying to do. They were trying to get Wisconsin's fake electors to Ron Johnson to hand to Mike Pence. And remember, Ron Johnson, this is always my staff, and then Pence's, and I'm sure that others on this panel can speak to the specifics of this better than I can, but I know this. Ron Johnson was also trying to cover his you-know-what after it was over, pretending like he wasn't part of the deal where they were trying to get fake electors in front of Pence in order to forestall the peaceful transfer of power that the Constitution does mandate. So I'm not crying any crocodile tears for Andrew Hitt.
The world's smallest violin. Tim Hafey, another interesting portion of that 60 Minutes piece, a conversation with someone who was 23 years old in grad school. She was asked to hand deliver the fake elector paperwork to Washington because it got lost in the mail. Take a listen.
She showed us her email chain with Ken Chesebro and the Trump campaign's senior advisor, Mike Roman.
Explaining that I should only give the documents to Ken Chesebro. So, and then they asked me to meet up with him outside the Trump Hotel.
Did you know what Chesebro looked like?
So he had actually sent me a selfie. So
he sent you a selfie?
Yes.
So that you would know it was him?
Yeah.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
She still has the photo saved on her phone.
That's Ken Chesebro. Mm-hmm. What did he say to you?
He kind of took a dramatic step back and looked at me and said, you might have just made history.
Whew. I mean, I don't know how they can be both so nefarious and so dopey at the same time, just over and over again. I take Claire's point very well about the fact that Hitt has a law degree, that he should have known better. And this is a reminder that there were also people downstream who got caught up in this thing.
Yeah, to Claire's point, Alicia, the document itself that Mr. Hitt signed purports to be official. It says, we, the duly certified electors of the state of Wisconsin. They weren't duly certified, right? So the face of the document, you don't need a law degree to see that if you're putting your signature to something that's patently false, it's against the law. So I agree with Claire that a little bit of this revisionism sort of covers up real time, kind of mindful involvement in this scheme. And this young law student, the notion that she's making history, this isn't how we make history, right? This isn't how a constitutional democracy works, right? A furtive hand to some unknown lawyer outside of the Capitol building. No, we have rules. We have standards. We are a nation of laws that enshrine how we conduct elections, how the transfer of power works in this country. It has worked for centuries with everyone respecting it. And this Keystone Cops notion of some sort of spy-like passage of a fake document, it just shows how completely ridiculous it is. And it's going to be fertile ground for Jack Smith to show that they had to go around the law, right? They knew that they were not playing by the rules, but are doing some kind of bad spy type handoff, all very, very important evidence for the special counsel when he's talking about intent.
David Jolly, Claire McCaskill, thank you both so much for spending some time.